Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to everyone. I, Alif Haikal from Asia PropTech, will be your moderator for this forum and lead our discussion. So for today, we will talk and discuss about a very important and interesting topic, which is green city and buildings. But I would like to introduce our panelists that will explain more about this topic. First, we have the President of Malaysian Green Cities and Buildings Council, Datuk Muhammad Faris Hakim bin Muhammad Faisal. Next, we have Dr. Irahmaris bin Muhammad Shafiq as the Civil Engineer of Consultant and Specialist in Environmental. Then another big name with us today is Professor Muhammad Shahmi Zikri bin Muhammad Razini, Board of Director Management in the Development of Environmental Sustainable from UKM. And last but not least, Dr. Muhammad Zulfaris Shahmi bin Muhammad Faizal, the Environmental Consultant Major on air pollution. So without wasting any time, let's start our discussion with our first speaker, Datuk Faris, to explain about what is Green City.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good evening, everyone. Of course, I will gladly share the concept of a green city with our audience here. According to my research and the articles that I've read, I would like to give my opinion about the issue raised by the moderator. First of all, the concept of a green city can be explained in terms of the definition and also the way we determine how sustainable the city is. Green city is one that was planned and developed with the goal of reducing its harmful effects on the environment while enhancing its benefits for the health and well-being of its residents. In executing this green city efficiently, a number of strategies can be used to do this, including employing energy-efficient buildings, encouraging the use of non-motorized and public transportation, preserving and developing green spaces, and managing waste and water resources sustainably. In addition to reducing air and water pollution, green cities may also work to give their citizens a healthy living environment. According to Rocco Pace in his article entitled How Green is a Green City, cities that are environmentally friendly are referred to as green cities. The development of high urban environments for all, minimizing transfers of environmental costs to areas outside the city, ensuring progress towards sustainable consumption, and limiting disease and their health impact are some steps required for the greening of cities. As mentioned by our moderator, the poor quality of the environment can affect the enhancement of cities and the level of sustainability for a certain country. Here are a few elements that are frequently used to gauge how sustainable a city is. First, it is about the consumption and production of energy. Sustainable cities typically employ renewable energy sources and have energy efficient infrastructure and structures. The use of renewable energy is important because it reduces dependence on fossil fuels, which are a finite resource and a major contributor to air pollution and climate change. Renewable energy sources such as solar and wind power do not produce emissions and have a much lower environmental impact. Additionally, increasing the use of renewable energy can help create jobs, improve energy security and stability, and promote economic development. Transportation also included. Sustainable cities typically have strong public transportation networks and high rates of walking and bicycling. Public transportation can reduce its impact on the environment in several ways. One of the main ways is by reducing the number of cars on the road, which in turn reduces emissions of greenhouse gases and air pollutants. Public transportation also tends to be more energy efficient per passenger mile than private cars, which further reduces emission. Public transportation also help promote more compact and sustainable land use patterns as people are able to live further from their workplaces and still commute easily. Besides, urban planning and land use. Cities with well-planned, condensed land use patterns and green areas or green infrastructure such as green roofs and walls tend to be more environmentally friendly. The great urban planning and land use help to improve the environment because they shape the way cities are designed and built and can therefore greatly impact the environmental performance of a city. By designing and building cities in sustainable ways, urban planning and land use can help to reduce pollution, conserve natural resources, and mitigate the impacts of climate change. Next, the trash management can also be an important aspect. Sustainable cities typically have strong initiatives for recycling and waste reduction. The initiatives can help to save the environment by reducing the amount of waste that ends up in landfills and the environment. This not only preserves natural resources, but also reduces the emission of greenhouse gases from waste decomposition. Additionally, recycling materials such as aluminium, paper, and plastic conserve energy and reduce the need for new raw materials, further reducing environmental impact. Waste reduction practices such as reducing consumption and using reusable products also play a critical role in reducing waste and preserving the environment. Lastly, the water management. Green cities typically have effective water management and conservation measures. A good water management is important for the environment because it helps to ensure that the water resources are used sustainably and that the needs of people and ecosystems are balanced. This includes protecting and preserving water quality, preventing pollution, and controlling the amount of water used for various purposes such as irrigation, industrial processes, and hydroelectric power generation. Additionally, effective water management can help to mitigate the impacts of droughts and floods and support biodiversity by maintaining healthy ecosystem. From the same article that I've read, the authors have mentioned quantitative measures. The quantitative measures of environmental quality and human well-being can quantify the performance of green cities while simultaneously measuring the success of societal and political activity. The analysis of the indicator reveals some categories of indications that are taken into consideration when determining how green a city is. The categories included carbon dioxide, air quality, energy, buildings, water, waste, green areas, and land use, acoustic environment, health and safety, education, equity, and participation. From the other articles entitled Defining and Measuring Urban Sustainability, which is cited by Huang in 2015, about 30 indicators and included in the Green City Index, CGI, which spans 9 areas such as carbon dioxide emissions, energy, buildings, land use, transportation, water and sanitation, waste management, air quality, and environmental governance. The indicators in the GCI are divided into two categories: quantitative indicators such as carbon dioxide emissions, water consumption, and air pollution, and qualitative indicators such as investment in renewable energies, strategies to reduce traffic congestions, and air quality codes. To end this part of the forum, I'm glad to conclude that these indicators satisfy all of my points that I've just mentioned. Thank you. That's all
Yes.
from me.
I totally acknowledge and agree with the point given by Dr. Faris. I believe that to have a green city in our country, we need to have a good sustainability and development in every sector in order to create more eco-friendly cities.
I agree with both of you. So, Dr. Irham, can you tell us more about how we can make sure that these efforts will give positive results in the future?
Okay, sure. First of all, thank you to the Mr. Moderator. Now let me enlighten you on how to implement a green city and its effect with a detailed explanation and how to preserve it for the future. Basically, we know that human beings need to do their part to conserve energy and be eco-friendly. We need to create a sustainability cities that nurture a resilient way of life. As we know, moving to this modern technology era, our Earth facing countless challenges like urbanization, globalization, and climate change. We need to start making change now. Cities are already responsible for 70% of global waste and consume almost 80% of the world's energy. Getting a glimpse of new urban planning infrastructure in developing countries has been a revelation to me. We're about to build a city with the same old short-sighted industrial standard instead of leapfrogging to sustainable solution, like those suggested by the Global Agenda Council on the future of the cities. Therefore, human beings need to do their part to conserve energy and be eco-friendly. We need to create a sustainable city that nurtures a resilient way of life. So, what can we do to make or to create a green city? So let's take a closer look. First of all, the first step is to start with this green city is by giving awareness to the society on why TR is important to the environment and our city. Basically, TR is the easiest thing to do for everyone to start the Go Green City project among the society. The 3R is reuse, reduce, and recycle. However, we can see that nowadays that many people still have a lack of self-awareness by throwing trash everywhere and not complying with the category of trash bins provided when they are throwing their trash. In this case, it can expose to air pollution. So by doing the by my observation, we also can see that food waste that is not recycled or repurposed is purging landfills. It decomposes and emits methane. Due to the insufficient and inefficient storage, around 70% of the food supply is waste. Urban impacts on the biodiversity reach their most devastating effects in developing countries. Hence, it is mandatory for the society to limit food waste and share it through the charities and food bank and global citizens. To assist reduce trash, we should practice the 3R: reduce, use, and recycle. This activity is very important and need to start from the school because it will be used as an education for students to practice whenever and wherever they are at. Therefore, we need to provide many trash bins along the city to help the society in implementing the Go Green City. So the next step is by using public transportation. This is also one of the efforts in order to implement a green city. As we know, most of the emissions from transport are produced by private vehicles like cars, and excessive number of cars produce gas and damage air quality, which has a harmful effect and increase the risk of respiratory disease. So more usage of public transport is the best way to reduce the emission. Cities should make the bike path, bridge, and sidewalk to encourage people to walk, bicycle, or use a public transport. For example, we can see a green city country like Japan. Their government really encourage their citizens to use a public transportation. It is because they knew that it can give a huge advantage to the country, like in the economic sector, and can also reduce any air pollution from the vehicle that can make the city polluted. Public transport also can help make a city sustainable by improving their air quality, reducing the need for many separate trips by private vehicles in dense urban areas, replacing many separate emission producing vehicles with fewer transit vehicles that generally emit less pollution on a per person basis. So we move on to the next step to make a green city is more by creating more community parks. So according to my reading on a website, green spaces are disappearing from urban areas. By the year 2050, 75% of the world population is expected to be living in urban rooms. This means more pollution and CO2 carbon dioxide, which is dangerous for our life. Green spaces are the essential element of a sustainability city. Trees, plants, and green areas are critical for improving air quality and overall health. In park, children can play and adults can relax by take a deep breath and reconnect with the nature. Green public spaces also can enhance mental health and well-being. Parks are key to the ensuring the health of our environment because they play a critical role in maintaining health ecosystem. By providing clean water and clean air at park, it also can enable a conservation on natural resources. Therefore, in order to implement a green city, we need to work together by creating more parks beside nature and maintain them wisely. Last but not least is by using more green items that can make your building green. So do you know that there are many ways to make our building green? We have to minimize water usage and improve drinking water and wastewater. We also need to avoid materials and chemicals that create a harmful and toxic emission. We have to make sure that all the building users follow reuse, reduce, and recycle that I mentioned before, the 3R. What I see is that we can provide a connection between indoor space and outdoor environment through the introduction of sign lights and view into the occupied area of the building. We also can use and develop energy efficient and eco-friendly equipment. For instance, we can design orientation of the building to get the maximum daylighting and use a green wall and green roof to avoid a heat gain into the building. We also can adopt a spectrally natural gas materials such that it reduces heat gain, minimize lighting of a landscape features, and it is such a brilliant, I think it is such a very brilliant and innovative idea to apply in all buildings in order to achieve a green city standard. So that's all for my ideas on how to implement a green city in our country. Now it depends on you whether you want to live in a better place or not.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Ilham, for stating your point. I'm surely agree with most of your points about how to create and implement Green City idea. I also think that the others agree with everything that has been said from you. But from my point of view, we need to focus on how to make public transportation usage become efficient. I think it is a good idea because it can reduce the amount of carbon dioxide released by cars and others. It also can help us from stuck at the road, especially during peak hour, because of amount of cars that can be controlled anymore during this globalization area. But we need to improve our public transportation first, that usually not in time, especially during peak hour, so that people can use it without any hesitation. It is the most important point to be improved because I am sure everyone knows the quality of public transportation in our country. For the community park idea, I agree with you because it is a good idea actually. It can improve the quality of air that has been affected by the release of carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide by the cars and factory.
Excuse me, Dr. Zul, can I add some recommendation here? I have read a website about a city which is Gyeongju City in Korea. They have prepared for transition from a traditional city to a sustainable city one. In order to address this subject effectively, it is necessary to build consensus on the direction and create a comprehensive transition master plan in accordance with the economy, society, and environment sectors of the city. Did you know that with the Great Master Plan, there were lots of benefits we got when a sustainability city built up?
Okay, I have a question for you, Professor Shami. How can we make sure that these efforts will give positive results in the future? Mind sharing with us about your opinion?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator Alif. Good evening, I bid everyone here. Yes, a rise in pollution, heat wave, greenhouse gas emissions, and stress. Given this bleak outlook, adopting sustainable urban planning, often known as green city, is becoming imperative to greatly enhance everyone's health and welfare. Based on my readings and research, I can state that the green city has 1001 good effects on us. When environmentally friendly simply means that you keep a lifestyle that is not harmful to environment. But in real terms, what would the benefits be? Here are 5 you should know by heart. Let me start my point with mental health benefits. Access to nature is essential for humans and has an impact on our mental health. According to numerous studies, it helps reduce stress and improve both concentrations and increase happiness. It is particularly beneficial for children and older people. Although it is related to improve mental health in general. According to Berman, Jodis and Kaplan, 2008, spending time in green natural environments is particular value for the recovery and power of the human brain. Next, did you know that living in the green city also give you a positive impact on your physical health? Parks and gardens are an oasis in the middle of the city, extremely valuable resources for improving our health and physical conditions. Studies in regard confirm that long-term contact with nature is linked to longer life, and it promotes healthy lifestyle and sport. Hence, the interest in enjoying sport outdoors, for example, in calisthenics parks, people can do lots of activity like jogging, yoga, strolling, picnicking, or so on. Viewing natural elements such as trees and water from a window, or even better, working in such environment reduce blood pressure and stress. Not just that, one only has to think of traffic jams, crowds, and pollution to understand why green spaces generate so many social benefits. Among them, improve social relationships and strengthen sense of community. Peters, Aliens and Bridges 2010 believe that The social benefits of urban green space include integration within and between different ethnic groups. Play by both boys and girls is facilitated by large play spaces, increased interaction between children and adults. Of course, for older people, green space is in housing areas serve to strengthen social ties and sense of togetherness with others. Moreover, urban space can have long-term positive effect on the economy, but can also generate more direct economic benefits and increase property value, willingness to pay for goods, urban agriculture, and city branding. Urban green spaces play major role in city branding or place branding, whereby cities or region brand their local identity to attract companies, qualified workers, and tourists. Just like Malaysia, we have lots of companies like EcoWorld, which is applied this green city concept in their buildings are so unique and attractive. Alright, I also would like to talk about ecological benefits from the urban green space, like high biodiversity or species result in stable ecosystem that can provide many ecosystem service for ecological and other benefits. Urban environments can be important in improving scope for conservation of species in the city. Urban vegetations such as green roots can be the habitat for insects, spiders, and herbs. Vegetations, mainly the local presence of trees and shrubs, has air purifications and filtrations capacity. We can see that a mixture of trees leads to both high filtration capacity and increasing gas absorption. I think that is all from me. Thank you.
Great points by Prof. Shamik. And actually, I am more attracted to the point that you mentioned, which is the last point, which is the ecological benefits. As we know, green cities are known as sustainable or eco-cities, and they absolutely provide a variety of ecological benefits. I am 100% agree with the term vegetation that is pictured as greenery like parks, gardens, and green spaces in the cities. The action of process of vegetating that stated definitely can produce more trees and shrubs that helps in filtering and purifying the air. These spaces not only improve the quality of air, but also the water. They first act as a natural filter, removing the pollutants and sediment from runoff before it reaches streams and rivers. Second, they can slow down the water flow, allowing it to seep into the soil and recharge aquifers. Third, they provide habitat for aquatic plants and animals, which can improve the overall health of aquatic ecosystems. And lastly, of course, it reduces the urban heat island effect.
Zul, Mike, Zul.
Mike said.
Sorry for interrupting all of you. I understand all of the things that is stated from your view. There are lots of benefit that green city concept can give to us and others. Just like what you stated before, it can give benefits to your mental health, physical, social, economic, and others. But I stand that there are a lot of challenges if we want to implement green city concept in our country. Let me tell you some challenges that I found when I make some research about this topic. First of all, there are lots of challenges that I have encountered when I make research about this topic. It comes from many aspects that some of us already know and vice versa. The challenges are increased air pollution, intensively polluted water, climate change, rapid urban growth, and maintenance to maintain green city until forever. For the first challenges, during this era, which is the globalization era, there are a lot of main factors that cause air pollution. Air pollution is usually caused by uncontrolled deforestation, the release of carbon monoxide by factories and cars, Air pollution should be stopped now, or our environment will not be safe anymore because of the lack of oxygen gas. To avoid this factor, people can practice to use public transport, just like Dr. Ilham said, to go anywhere to reduce the amount of carbon monoxide release. Next, for the second challenge is intensively polluted water. As we know, water is the main element that people need other than oxygen to continue their life. Without clean water, people can't survive until the end of their life and they tend to get chronic disease. Sources of clean water should be maintained as it is vital in our life. It is one of the most challenges to make green city. Climate change is also one of the challenges of making a green city. Climate change will impact most of us because of lack of water resources, forests being destroyed because of hurricanes and typhoons. This can lead to other challenges as well because the lack of awareness from humans that only care about the growth of their city. Rapid urban growth produce a lot of new things also that have been discovered by technologies such as new sources of energy like charcoal and fossil. The sources of energy is non-renewable and causes more pollution to our environment compared to renewable energy like wind and solar. It is better for us to stop from using non-renewable energy to maintain sustainability of our environment. A lot of forests also get destroyed because of rapid urban growth to make a lot buildings and houses. The necessity for housing overrides the need for green spaces as more and more immigrants move into the city center. The problem here is everyone wants to use the free space, no matter how small it is, for something else, from the gardens to parking spaces. I'm not saying anyone's fault here, but it is important to prioritize what's actually needed over what will benefit only a certain group of residents.
Yes, actually, I totally agree with your point because in order to build them, there are lots of challenges we will face not only with the environment but also in terms of finance, manpower, materials, and so on. All this show that dealing with the main urban challenge of this 21st century like climate change, poverty, and informality becomes increasingly complex. The good news is that more and more cities line up as the sustainable city. This initiative should be strongly supported.
So from my point of view, I very support every detail and point that have been said from both of you. It is vital for us to counter all of the challenges that have been said from Dr. Zul. This topic is most open to the contribution that can promote this development.
Thank you to all of you for giving your opinion about this topic. Alright, before we end our discussion, I would like to introduce Dr. Faris to give a short message for our audience.
Thank you, Alif, Mr. Moderator. I am very grateful to you for allowing me to give a short message or brief advice for our audience today. Well, now, after we have heard and examined the opinions and points from the other panelists, we as human beings that have a desire to live in a good country must start taking care of the environment, not only for us, but also for the future generations. As a person that holds the position of a president, I would like to encourage the people that attend here to learn and look back at the benefits of sustainable urban planning that mentioned by one of our panelists, which is Prof. Shami, such as reduce air pollution due to the existence of trees and shrubs that provide air purification, filtration, and increased gas absorption. Not to mention, we also must care about the economic benefits of green cities, such as lower energy costs and increased property values. Last but not least, I do really hope that we together can get involved in local environmental groups and campaigns that focus on creating sustainable cities that we can gain our knowledge and experience to create a better living for the future.
So to conclude our discussion today, even though these issues has been a big problem to us, we must take our first step to keep our place in a good condition. If we can tackle this, we will be able to make our earth a better place for the future generations and keep the healthy lifestyle for the time being. To make it happen, all of the organization have to do it together with the people and bring back the high quality of the surroundings. Everyone have to take part in this action as their own responsibility to make their home. That's all for today. I would like to thank our panelists for willing to spend time with us and share their opinions about green city and buildings. I hope that many people will realize the importance of this issue together make our planet better. Thank you and have a nice day.